analytical observers like analysts, and they tend to look at technology companies and deliver pronouncements about them. And some of them will be positive about a company and some will be negative about a company. It's possible in looking at the general activities of Microsoft, one of those analysts formed a certain conclusion about Netscape and published that conclusion, and that might have had an effect. And so you could say that analysts may have had an effect. And analysts look at what Microsoft does, primarily in the products, not as much what we say as what we do in shipping our products.
What I'm asking you about, of course, right now is the effect of what you were saying, or what was attributed to you. And I do want to come to the effect that your products had on Netscape as well. But right now I want to talk about the effect of what was attributed to you. And what I'm asking you is whether you believe that the publication of statements like this attributed to you adversely affected Netscape's business prospects.
I'm not aware of any specific effect. And my general experience is that when competitors have made statements about us, that doesn't have an effect, rather that the people who do analysis or the actual products get shipped are what cause effects on our business.
Do you think that the effect on Microsoft's business of competitors saying things about Microsoft is comparable to the effect on Netscape's business of Microsoft saying things like this about Netscape?
Are we now talking about what was published or what was said?
Well, we're talking about what was published here.
Okay, well then stick to that.
That's what I am, sir, because I understand that your testimony is that you just don't remember saying any of these quotations that these publications have attributed to you. That's why I'm asking about what is written here. Because there's no doubt, you have no doubt that this was actually published, do you, sir?
I believe it was published.
Okay. So at least we know that the Financial Times published, quote, "Our business model works even if all internet software is free," close quote, says Mr. Gates. Quote, "We are still selling operating systems. What does Netscape's business model look like if that happens? Not very good," close quote. Now, I asked you whether you thought that the publication of that adversely affected Netscape's business prospects. And you then gave me an answer that talked about the effect on Microsoft of criticism of Microsoft. Do you recall that?
Well, that wasn't at all that I said. We can read back what I said.
If you'd like to have it read back, it's okay with me. I don't need to have it read back, but if I've got as much time as I need to finish the examination, sir. And I'm prepared to spend as many days here as I have to do that. I think the record is quite clear as to what your answer was. And I think it is quite clear that you kept going back to Microsoft's experience, and that's the only point I'm trying to get you to focus on. Do you recall that enough to answer the question, or do we need to go back? Either way is okay with me.
Go ahead and ask a question, and then I'll decide.
Okay. Do you think, because you're the one that brought up the effect on Microsoft of criticism, do you think the effect on Microsoft of criticism of it is comparable to the effect on Netscape of the publication of statements attributed to you, like, quote, our business model works even if all internet software is free, close quote, says Mr. Gates. Quote, we are still selling operating systems. What does Netscape's business model look like if that happens? Not very good, close quote.
You're supposing a case where I personally criticize Microsoft?
I'm not supposing anything at all, sir.
That's what you suggested.
No, sir. Let me try to be clear, and perhaps I'm not being clear.
Who's doing the criticism in your hypothetical?
Well, I think the only person that has mentioned the word criticism today is you. That I think it came out of your answer when you were talking about criticism of Microsoft. Now, if I've misremembered your testimony about that, I will stand corrected by the record. But my recollection is that I asked you whether you thought the publication of statements like this would adversely affect Netscape's business prospects. My recollection is that you gave me an answer, a substantial portion of which included a statement that it had been your experience that criticism of Microsoft didn't really affect your business.
No, I didn't say that. I said statements by competitors, whether critical or otherwise, I didn't think explained what happened to our business, but rather other factors could explain what happened to our business.
Okay. Let me use statements. And if I misremembered the word criticism, I apologize. Do you think that the effect on Microsoft's business of statements about Microsoft by its competitors is comparable to the effect on Netscape's business of the publication of statements like, quote, our business model works even if all internet software is free, close quote, says Mr. Gates. Quote, we are still selling operating systems. What does Netscape's business model look like if that happens? Not very good, close quote. I wish this question had been answered simply. I think it could have been.
I gave you a very simple answer, but I was not aware of any effect on their business by the publication.
And that may have answered my question, sir. But because I know that you're a person that uses words very precisely, I need to be sure that we haven't missed something between the question and the answer. My question was whether you believed that this publication affected Netscape's business prospects. You said you didn't know of any effect, and I just want to be sure that your answer was meant to apply to the full breadth of my question.
The full breadth of your question?
Yes, sir. And if that's confusing to you, as I say, I will put the question as many times as I need to be sure that I get it clear to you. My question, and unfortunately I'm going to have to quote it again.
There's no need. There's really no need.
But my question, sir, is whether you believe that the publication of statements like the statement in the Financial Times that, quote, our business model works even if all internet software is free,